Welcome everybody, welcome to the Jefferson County Open High School's graduation ceremony of 2019. My name is Joseph Talley.
And I'm Jane Hendricks, and we'll be your Masters of Ceremony today.
First, we would like to welcome our distinguished guests, Board Member Amanda Stevens and Matt Walsh, our Community Superintendent. Thank you very much for your continued support of our school.
Today, we celebrate 44 years of open school graduates. We welcome many graduates from past years, including some from the very first years of the open school. We would like to recognize our extended open school community today. Could all the alumni please stand? Thank you for joining us and for your continued connection to our program.
We would like to bring to your attention our program, which honors the graduates of this year. Along with the photo of each senior, you will find highlights of their accomplishments, school trips, and a listing of their 6 extensive passages. We are proud of their hard work, and today we recognize and celebrate their passion and dedication.
We would also like to extend our appreciation for the graduates, parents, students, and staff whose hard work and dedication made the ceremony possible. Specifically, we would like to thank our office staff, Paula, Gail, Sharon, Katie, and Stephanie. Our custodial crew, Steve, Maria, Scott, and Jesse. This year's graduate sponsors, Mark and Chris, and of course our administrative staff, Scott, Melissa, and Alicia.
They're the people we depend on to complete the everyday hard work that makes this school function, including this ceremony.
We have many loved ones here, many people who have influenced, supported, and inspired us. It is a wonderful time to celebrate our extended family, which reaches far beyond the walls of the school and spans many localities.
This year we have continued our long-running archaeological expeditions to the Navajo Nation. We have taken trips and built a community on the Pine Ridge Reservation, and we have explored cultural and environmental issues on the Rio Grande in Texas.
We have again experienced the solitude of the Boundary Waters and painted the vistas of New Mexico on the outdoor watercolor trip. We have also shared our musical talents on the Marimba Talica tour of the Southwest and relived the splendor of Lewis and Clark on the Missouri River.
We are fortunate to know firsthand the splendor and tradition of German culture, and we have lived with Japanese families, and they, in turn, have lived with us. Our classrooms span the world from the Arctic to the tropics. Let us recognize and celebrate our extended world community that has contributed to the growth of today's graduates.
To begin our ceremony, we have a speech from Caroline Peterson. Caroline has been at the Open School for 6 years, and in that time she has explored her passion for making the world a better place. Through her passages, Caroline has invested countless hours advocating for immigrant rights, leading the conversation for common sense gun reform, and lobbying local and national leaders to reverse the impacts of climate change. Caroline's accomplishments have garnered over $600,000 in scholarship offers from colleges and universities around the country. And next year, she'll be headed to the University of California at Berkeley. Please welcome Caroline.
Good morning, everybody. I don't really know what came over me when I volunteered to speak at graduation, but I'm here now, and I'm excited that I'm going to have the opportunity to thank everybody. So, here we go. Here at Open, one of the things we like to say is that in our community, no one can be anonymous. And how could you be? Each of us graduating today braved the Colorado mountains with a group of near strangers on a wilderness trip. We spent countless hours working with our advisors and consultants on our passages, discussing our passions, dreams, and fears. We evaluated each and every experience we had here and shared those reflections with others. In a place where I could have been anonymous, I would have disappeared. I came into the open school as a subdued and terrified 12-year-old. At first, the greatest gift the school could give me was freedom to pursue my passions. I took off that first year, working on self-directed projects constantly and doing pretty well on my own. I liked it that way too. My whole life, I had created a facade of indestructibility to hide how fragile I really was. I couldn't rely on others or be open about my struggles. When I was 14, I developed a chronic illness which changed everything about how I lived my life. I was forced to ask for help, and with support from my role models at Open, I learned the importance of vulnerability. Everything about being a student at JCOS challenged my fears and encouraged my growth. At any other school, the struggles I faced likely would have drowned me. Here, though, I learned to value the setbacks as much as the accomplishments. One of the most important things that's ingrained in us as students at the Open School is that everything is an opportunity for learning. I couldn't begin to express the gratitude that I feel for this school, a place that's held together by people who share a common belief in the potential of education. The pride that I feel when I think about all that I have accomplished during my high school career is a direct result of the systems we have set up to ensure that no one at the Open School is anonymous. I would like to thank everyone that's here today from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you very much, Caroline. That was wonderful. Now we hear from our graduate, Katie Kellogg. Katie has been attending JCOS since her 7th grade year. She has a strong passion for wildlife, and in fact, 3 of her passages relate to the topic. Katie worked with the Birds of Prey Foundation, a raptor rehabilitation center in Broomfield, Colorado, gaining real-world experience and seeking meaning in her life. As she moves on, Katie hopes to attend Western Colorado University in the fall of 2019 and major in wildlife biology. Let's welcome Katie.
I'm not talking about wildlife today. Instead, I'm going to talk about how sometimes I feel like I lived a double life at JCOS. And for those of you who don't know or don't know me, I play roller derby. And no, I can't punch people in the face or trip them, but you know, I can run them off the track, which is always fun. But there's always 2 versions of myself. There was Katie, the student, and Obsidian, the roller derby player. When I came to JCOS, I already loved learning, but what I lacked was confidence and trust. I lacked the trust I didn't trust people to give me their time and energy, and I didn't have confidence in myself to feel I was worthy of that time and energy. And similarly, when I joined roller derby, I didn't have the confidence in myself to fully participate. The first 2 things I learned after joining was A, how to fall, and B, that it was okay to fall as long as you got back up. I'm a blocker, which means my job is to prevent the jammer from gaining points by passing my teammates, and the easiest way to do that is by blocking her path. But I can't do that by myself. I have to be able to rely on my teammate and trust that they'll support me, and I have to support them in turn. The perfect example of this is something called a partner foul, where essentially 2 players become 1 unit, and they must fully support each other in order for it to work, and it only works if both partners are fully participating. And I often say roller derby is where personal space goes to die. Because unlike most sports, where it revolves around an object, a football, a basketball, a frisbee, etc., roller derby is entirely centered around the players, and 90% physical contact. And a little off topic, bear with me, I am not a body positive person. I've never really liked my body, but I was okay with that. And then when I joined roller derby, suddenly it became my tool and my weapon, and that terrified me. But as time grew on, I slowly gained the confidence to fully participate and be able to trust my instincts or ask for help when I needed. So while roller derby gave confidence in myself, JCOS gave me the tools I needed to use that confidence in a very productive way. I was able to make changes in my life that allowed me to fully participate in every aspect of my life and be able to create the community I needed to thrive. And I hear so much from people that JCOS changed their life, but I disagree with that. I don't think JCOS changed my life. JCOS gave me the tools to change my own life. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Next up, we are lucky to have Phoenix Noder in our community, and he will be performing a song for us today. Phoenix is a lifer at the Open School, and during his time here, he has discovered a love for theater and music. He has performed on our main stage more times than can be easily counted, and he is happy to be able to share his love for music with all of us today. Maybe one day we will see his name up in lights. Please welcome Phoenix.
Before I begin, I must provide my music to the music people.
So, the song that I'm performing for you guys today is the song.
I think it is now. Is the song that made me want to be a performer. So, it's very open schooly. Whenever you're ready.
Listen as your day unfolds, challenge what the future holds. Try and keep your head up to the sky. Lovers, they may cause you tears. Go ahead, release your fears. Stand up and be counted, don't be ashamed to cry. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stick together. All I know, love will save the day. Herald what your mother said, read the books your father read. Try to solve the puzzles in your own sweet time. Some may have more cash than you, others take a different view. Mine, oh mine, yeah, yeah. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stick together. All I know, love will save the day. Time asks no questions, it goes on without you, leaving you behind if you can't stand the pace. The world keeps on spinning, can't stop it if you try to. The best part is danger staring you in the face. Whoa. But listen as your day unfolds, challenge what the future holds. Try and keep your head up to the sky. Lovers, they may cause you tears. Go ahead, release your fears. Mine, oh mine, yeah, yeah. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stick together. All I know, love will save the day. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stick together. All I know, love will save the day. Got to be bold, got to be bad, got to be wise. No, never say, got to be hard, not too hard. All I know. bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stick together. All I know, love will save the day.
All right, thank you very much, Phoenix. That was wonderful. Next, we would like to welcome another graduate speaker, Leela Poyer. Leela has been attending the Open School since 10th grade. Through the Open School, she was able to travel across the country, discover her passions, and better determine how she might create the world that ought to be. Leela is known for her passionate advocacy of Indigenous and women's rights. Leela will be attending the University of Redlands in the fall. Let's give a warm welcome to Leela.
Leon Petu ki iushpia shante washte mape jiuzape. Today I greet you with a good heart and a warm handshake. I like to consider myself a writer. I mean, I've always been good with words. But as I attempt to write this, I'm having troubles. Writing a goodbye to something that means so much to me is harder than I thought. So how about I just start at the beginning? I came to the Open School as a depressed 15-year-old. I remember walking through the hallways of my old school, and it felt like I was moving underwater with weights tied to my feet. The first time I toured Open was the first time I felt myself breathe in months. I knew deep in my bones that I belonged at this odd but wonderful school, and that's where a beautiful 3-year-long journey began. I learned so much in my time here. My classroom was not only Dave's boiling hot room or Jen's closet that we call a room, but it was also floating on a surfboard, attempting to tame the waves. It was sitting in a canoe and using a tarp as a sail as I was pelted with mud balls. It was all the times I was smushed on the couch from the ARC with my advisees. I didn't just learn subjects, I fell in love with them, and in the process, I fell in love with myself. I fell in love with myself through my passages, from my adventure to my career, from defending Indigenous rights to building a hydroelectric dam model. I became confident in myself, in a chemistry class, and acting my heart out on stage. I became a better friend through the wonderful, incredibly patient people I met. I became a better person through the easy and hard lessons I learned within these walls. I'm not giving all the credit to the Open School, mostly because Roberta would get mad at me if I did that. But I am thanking the Open School for not only being a safe place to grow into the woman I am now, but to also be the place that shoved me off the edge into that risk I needed to take. I also want to thank Roberta. I was so lucky that this strong, amazing woman picked my name out of the hat. Roberta, you were always there for me. You weren't just my advisor, you were a mother figure, a therapist, sometimes an enemy, especially while writing my research paper, but mostly a friend. Thank you for being the best advisor. I also want to thank my parents who saw how much I needed an Open School in my life, so they were crazy enough to drive me 40 minutes one way every morning. Thank you for being my parents and always being supportive of me and my crazy ambitions. Finally, thank you to the Open School and everyone in it. I met my dearest friends here. They taught me how to love and care for every person in my life. So maybe I was wrong. This isn't a goodbye, just a really nostalgic thank you to the school and people that changed my life. Wopila Kamka.
Leela, you almost made me cry there. Don't do that. Thank you, Leela. Now we would like to welcome Elliot Enix to the stage to share a musical interlude. Elliot has been at the Open School for 4 years and really loved their time being a part of this community. At JCOS, they participated in 8 main stage theater productions, starting with Red Ribbon and ending with She Kills Monsters. They have really focused on LGBTQIA+ issues during their time at Open, and in some way or another, all 6 of their passages go back to those issues. They hope to go into a career where they can pursue activism, especially when it comes to advocating for minorities. Let's give a round of applause for Elliot.
So just for some background, this is a song that me and my dad have been performing since I was 7 years old. And I felt like it would be a good way to finish off my experience here is to perform the song. And if you know it, please join in for the choruses. And let's do this.
Oh, Mr. Johnson had troubles of his own. He had a yellow cat that wouldn't leave his home. He tried and he tried to give the cat away. He gave it to a man going far, far away. But the cat came back the very next day. The cat came back. They thought he was a goner, but the cat came back. He just couldn't stay away. The man around the corner swore he killed the cat on sight. He loaded up his shotgun with nails and dynamite. He waited and he waited for the cat to come around. 97 pieces of the man was all they found. But the cat came back the very next day. The cat came back. They thought he was a goner, but the cat came back. He just couldn't stay away. He gave him to a fisherman with a $1 note. Told him to take him up the river in a boat. They tied a rope around his neck. It must have weighed a pound. They had to drag the river, for the fisherman had drowned. But the cat came back the very next day. The cat came back. They thought he was a goner, but the cat came back. He just couldn't stay away. He gave him to a man going up in a balloon. Told him to take him to the man in the moon. The balloon came down about 90 miles away. Where's the man now? I dare not say. But the cat came back the very next day. The cat came back. They thought he was a goner, but the cat came back. He just couldn't stay away. He gave him to a man going way out west. Told him to take him to the one he loved the best. The train hit the curb, then it jumped the rail. Not a soul was left to tell the gruesome tale. But the cat came back the very next day. The cat came back. They thought he was a goner, but the cat came back. He just couldn't stay away. The atom bomb fell one bright summer's day. They dropped the H-bomb the very same way. Russia went, England went, then the USA. The human race was finished without a chance to pray. But the cat came back the very next day. The cat came back. They thought he was a goner, but the cat came back. He just couldn't stay away.
Thank you very much, Elliot. That was really great. Now we'd like to welcome up Oliver Wilson. Oliver, the biggest fan of Optimus Prime, the leader of the Autobots, has been attending Open since their 7th grade year. In that time, he has explored his interests in art and culture. Oliver's focused as many passages as he could on perfecting his skills in art. Additionally, Oliver has a passionate love for Korean culture, language, and music, especially that of BTS. In the coming years, Oliver plans to continue his studies of art and the Korean language in hopes of traveling to Korea. Please welcome Oliver.
Hello, everybody. This is a message for my fellow graduates. This is a big day for all of us. We're moving into what some may call the adult world. And I don't know about you, but I am incredibly excited to explore and take opportunities I couldn't have before. As we move on, however, there's a lot of uncertainty. It is okay to be nervous. We are moving into a new stage of our lives that holds a lot of changes and challenges. When things get hard, stop for a while. Look back and see how far you've come. Don't forget how amazing it feels. Whatever it is we do for the rest of our lives, this is our proof. Today, even our final support meetings. Proof that we can accomplish things that sometimes seem hard and stressful, and maybe even impossible. For me, getting my diploma seems like a distant dream or an illusion, something I could never achieve. And yet, here I stand with the graduating class of 2019. This is my proof. Something I want in life is to be happy, and I am sure that most of you here want the same thing. There are two quotes I enjoy that seem to embody my thoughts of what happiness really is. They say people live to be happy. If you actually think about what happiness is, it's nothing much. It is a bowl of ramen you eat after you're really, really hungry. Or, happiness is not something you have to achieve. You can be happy in the process of achieving something. However, I think there is one big misconception of what happiness really is. It isn't a constant, that's for sure. Humans are way more complicated than that. It's the little things in life, those little memories, like the ramen you eat after you're really, really hungry. Or perhaps you're binging your favorite TV show for the 30th time. Perhaps your favorite content creator or band just released something new. It could be the simplest things in life. So if you are, or when you are going through a tough time, change your perspective a bit. It could be the most beautiful moment in your life. For all the graduates here, I wish you the best in your future. Keep chasing your dreams and never ever stop being yourself. Keep chasing your dreams, and if you don't have any, or you don't know what it is quite yet, that's okay. Each of us may not be perfect, but we all are limited edition. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Oliver. Our next graduate speaker is Matthew Hennon. Matthew has been at the Open School since 7th grade. Since that time, he has dedicated his efforts towards the well-being of the community and service to others. For the last 4 years, he has played baseball for the Green Mountain High School Rams, starting on varsity for 2 of those years. Matthew is planning on attending Eastern Arizona College to study psychology and play college baseball. Please welcome Matthew.
Alrighty, good morning. So, for the last 6 years of schooling, they've been among the most incredible times of my life. I have far outgrown my own expectations of the person that I wanted to become at the end of my high school experience. I've traveled many miles and experienced far more than I could have ever dreamed of. From my adventures in Nicaragua to my backbreaking service in Houston, the Open School has given me the incredible and unmatched opportunities to view the world through a different lens every day. And for that, I'm incredibly grateful. I've had many conflicts and challenges both in the building and in the world outside. Though tough and difficult, I was given the ability and knowledge to overcome each and every struggle. After overcoming each of these conflicts, I became increasingly more resilient, more self-empowered, and confident about the person that I was becoming. I was able to become a better student athlete my time during the open school, receiving an academic all-state first team award in my junior year, an athletic second team all-conference award my senior year. It's not as good as first team. Without the help and support that comes from this incredible, As I began to share these memories and experiences with my peers, the continuous interaction of school days and trip experiences, I became ever more comfortable with the people whom I now call my friends. Fellow seniors, I'm incredibly grateful for the time that I had with you guys over the past 6 years. Without the help and support that comes from this incredible group of human beings, I would not be standing here in front of you today. So, thank you, each and every one of you. Aside from great students, the advisors and faculty here at Open are among the most supportive and humorous individuals I've had the pleasure to be around. I want to thank the Open School advisors, office staff, and parents for maintaining the best learning community on the planet. This environment would not be the way it is without the hours of service that they pour into this community every single day. To the teachers and students that I've had the pleasure to learn from in classes, thank you for your unwavering patience and your incredible support throughout these years. I'd like to personally thank my advisor of 3 years, Jeremy Cowell, who he first taught me that the school can be fun, exciting, and full of amazing out-of-the-building experiences. Jeremy also taught me the value of communication, not only in school, but in life in general. Moving on to the walkabout, I had a new advisor who, I admit it, did not initially appear as friendly, as outgoing, or as enthusiastic as Jeremy Cowell. My suspicions were proven correct, only that my new advisor was even more friendly, outgoing, and enthusiastic. I had the honor and the privilege of being a part of one of the most tight-knit student groups at the Open School for another 3 years. Jacob Sleemers is a preacher of sorts, a preacher whose sermon explores the many possibilities of who students are as individuals. Jacob has instilled a mindset of self-discipline, self-value, self-respect that I will forever carry throughout my life. The Open School is more than just a school. It's more than just a building with classrooms. The school is the embodiment of the future of education. This is the place where children, kids, and young adults come to learn, share ideas, and share passions. This is the place where the future is being written, erased, and written again. This is the school where students experience and grow more outside this building than within. I have been blessed with the opportunity to experience what this school and this community embodies. This opportunity has forever changed me. This opportunity has helped me mold myself into a more educated, self-disciplined, and fulfilled individual. I'm beyond grateful for the last 6 years of my education experience. To everybody here, thank you so much. Thank you, Jefferson County Open School.
Thank you very much, Matthew. That was as our final student performance, we would like to welcome Levi Weatherall. Levi came to the Open School last year from Arvada West. Moving to the Open School helped him discover himself through his participation in the passage process. He explored his passions through the lens of his adventure passage and delved into his career exploration passage focused on outdoor education. Levi has worked for Trackers Earth as an outdoor educator. As Levi graduates, he hopes to continue pursuing a career in outdoor education. Please welcome Levi to the stage.
This is a song that's important to me, and it's not important because I wrote it, which I didn't. It's not important because it's some deep, pretentious metaphor about coming of age, but it's important because on my first day last year at the open school, we all sat down in a circle with our advisor group, and I sat something like this. And I was unable and unwilling to answer the question, what kitchen implement would you be if you could be any kitchen implement? So this song is important to me because it's a sign of the profound impact that this school has had on my life and my outlook on my future. You had your maps, you had other plans to hang your hopes. Every road that led you down felt so long, so you found another way. You got a big heart, the way you see the world has got you this far. You might have some bruises and a few scars, but you know you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay, even if you're scared. You're stronger than you know. When you're lost out where the lights are blinding caught and all the stars are hiding, that's when something wild calls you home. When you face the fear that keeps you frozen, chase the sky into the ocean, that's when something wild calls you home. Sometimes you'll pass and make the ground beneath you feel like quicksand. You don't have to worry, reach for my hand. And you know you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay, even if you're scared. You're stronger than you know. When you're lost and where the lights are blinding caught and all the stars are hiding, that's when something wild calls you home. When you face the fear that keeps you frozen, chase the sky into the ocean, that's when something wild calls you home. 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 When you're lost out where the lights are blinding caught and all the stars are hiding, that's when something wild calls you home. When you're lost out where the lights are blinding caught and all the stars are hiding, that's when something wild calls you home. When you face the fear that keeps you frozen, chase the sky into the ocean, that's when something wild calls you home. Where the lights are blinding caught and all the stars are hiding, that's when something wild calls you home.
Levi, all it says in my script is Levi performs. So I was expecting some kind of fire to be started, but that was 1,000 times better. Thank you very, very much. Please welcome our next speaker, Walt Puyer. Walt was a part of the JCOS community long before his daughter Leela attended here. He has continually offered guidance and knowledge to the Pine Ridge class and helped with other activities his daughter is involved in. He is very proud of his daughter and is very honored to be speaking on this special day. Please welcome Walt Puyer.
Thank you, everybody. I had this really cool thought process going, and I just can't help but think, be like Cat. The Cat song was pretty amazing. This group here, I'm here to represent the parents, but I'm here to talk about this generation and this group of kids here who I've gotten to watch grow, be a part of a lot of their adventures, and it's been pretty amazing. But it also feels really good to see the parents and be comforted that you look all tired like I feel. Putting our kids through high school is quite a task, so you did a great job with these kids. The mentors, teachers here are amazing. What they've done for our Lila, and I know what they've done for all of your kids, has just been phenomenal. I mean, these kids are tasked with a lot of responsibilities to come. Oglala Lakota from the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota, and we believe in a prophecy to come. It's a generational prophecy that we call the seventh generation. And the seventh generation is tasked to really clean up the mess that we've all left behind for them. And the seventh generation, depending on how you look at it, from which tribe, from which nation, can go back as 3,000 years old. And it says that this generation is tasked to awaken humanity, to show us a better way of being connected, a better way of being in sync and harmony with this planet, with each other, and to awaken, because we are not humans on a spiritual journey, we are spirits on a human journey. And that essence within us is what's going to help us to recognize this. And this generation is the biggest generation in American history. Their numbers are amazingly big, bigger than the baby boomers. But their ability to connect and their ability to communicate is unlike any other generation either. So I just want to say to you that we're here for you. We support you. As your parents, we are tasked to help guide you to be this awakening. And I just got to say, no pressure, but it is up to you, and we believe in you, and you are amazing. The school is amazing, and I'm just so privileged and so honored to be a part of your futures. And we have a lot of prophecies that support you. So in Lakota we say, Takush Nashka Wakan. It means something holy is moving. It is you, it is me, it is us. So wo pilatanka, oyechita, mita koyase.
Thank you very much for that, Walt. Next, we have a very special addition to our program this morning that Scott would like to introduce.
This will actually come before the next speaker. So in this year's graduation ceremony, we're at a benchmark in the history of the Jefferson County Open School. So for the first time, we have this unique event occurring that will repeat in the future. Today we will be celebrating the first person to retire as a staff member who went through the program as a student. The original open school started in Arvada at the cottages in 1970. Melody Epperson was in the second grade class as her parents were founding members of the school. She had participated through the evolution of the early part of the program through 8th grade and attended open school trips while she was a student at Lakewood High School in 9th through 12th grade. She began teaching at Tanglewood Open Living School as a substitute in 1986 and was hired as the first full-time teacher who had also been a student in the program. She worked primarily in the ELC with a variety of teammates, and then she, in 1999, initiated the Integrated Arts program and has taught in this unique position for 19 years now. She has fostered the artistic and musical development of countless students during this time, many of who are graduating here today. Please help us celebrate Melody's 49 years with the school and recognize this historic moment in the continuing evolution of the Jefferson County Open School.
Yeah, 1970, a second grader. That's when my journey, my life at the open school began, and it was called Open Living at that time. And I just want to update you all on my passages, okay? So, my adventure passage is proposed, and I am hoping to travel, first to Santa Fe and then to Scotland. My creativity passage is a work in progress. I'm planning on playing the ukulele and working on my own visual art. My global awareness is tied into my creativity because I am going to work on a series that I have started on women's suffrage, which will be showing at the Arvada Center next April. My practical skills is going to be learning to say no. And my career exploration is wrapped. I think I forgot one. I think it has something to do with logical inquiry. I'll figure it out later.
Thank you, Melody, for your loving contributions to this community. Your legacy will have a long-lasting effect on this school. Our next speaker is one of the foundational pillars of the original open school, someone who needs no introduction. Despite that fact, I will introduce him anyway. Arnie was the first principal of the Open High School and has remained our philosophical inspiration to this day. He has been an influential thought leader in public education for his entire career. Arnie has been recognized nationally and internationally for his contributions to the educational community. Arnie has continued to motivate politicians, teachers, principals, and students to create institutions dedicated to authentic learning and social betterment. We are grateful to have Arnie share his thoughts with us today.
Hello, everybody. I'm proud to be here in front of you. I'm going to start with just a little bit about me, and then I'm going to take you into a much more interesting next step. That's why those chairs are out there. In 1975, I flew here from New York for a most interesting job interview. It was interesting for a few reasons. First of all, my memory was it was a room full of kids that were interviewing me. I think there were a few teachers or parents, but basically it was a room full of kids, which was exciting. And they were interviewing me for a school they wanted to create. So they were interviewing me for a job that didn't exist, to work in a school that didn't exist. It was a bit of a challenge. Okay, that was in 1975. 44 years later today, and it was exactly Memorial Day, 44 years ago that I came for that first interview. I've got an interesting challenge again. How do I summarize 44 years in a speech here? Can't be done. So I've come up with a plan, and I've invited two people to come up here and join me. Before they come up, I want to tell you the story which is going to lead to a question And they will give you their answers for that question. And afterwards, I will sum up a little bit from the context. But that's the procedure, okay? So, I will tell you the story, which happened in the first and second year of the school. Okay, so, a long time ago, at a fairly fragile institution, as you can imagine, for a school like this to even get started. So I was concerned that the kind of evaluations that are generally done of schools are based upon the conventional school structure. How are we going to evaluate us? Well, if you look at the history, it turned out every one of those that were done were tremendously satisfying conventionally about how wonderful we were. We got some of the propaganda we still use. This is a school, this is a model for the reform of secondary ed. That was done by the head of one of the visiting teams. So we were getting, but it was still external. So I called a friend who was at the University of Colorado at Denver. Unfortunately, Bill's no longer alive. And Bill Goodwin and I, created a scheme. And he got two of his graduate students, two women who were grad students, but a little older. They didn't just finish school, they had careers themselves and families. And the plan was, we came up, the four of us, the two women and Bill and I, kind of a questionnaire to interview. It was about 20 kids, give or take, who were going to enter school the next year, our second year. So they had applied to come, had obviously been accepted because we take everybody who chooses to come here. But they had not yet been in the building. So they had not yet been influenced by the environment. So we felt that was the closest we could come to a control group. Because how do you control a group that's chosen to be here? By at least talking to them before they've been influenced by us, okay? And then we had this interview, and each of the women interviewed half of that group before they came to the school. They went to their houses during the summer before school began. And then they followed them 3 times during the year, asking basically the same questions, personal, social, and academic, as we do still. I'm going to tell you a little about the two women, and then I'm going to tell you the punchline, which is going to bring up 2 people to join me in answering. Mary, one of the 2 women, had started her own little alternative preschool in Denver. So she was, if you could say, a true believer. She believed in what we were doing because that's what she was doing. So you expect that she's going to think we're okay. B, on the other hand, was an Orthodox Jew who sent her kids to parochial schools. And if you want to put it politely, she was a skeptic. But they were both good researchers. And they both did the same routine. So I'll just tell you the first of Mary's responses and the last of B's responses over the course. The very first time, they would send me, after each round of interviews, they'd send me the results. And I'd share them, of course, with the students and staff at the school. And Mary said, this is now her second interview, because her first had been during the summer. She came to school and she said, I couldn't find Brad. He looked different. He'd only been in the school 6 weeks, and he physically looked different to me. I mean, that's already a pretty interesting evaluation, I think. But B kept sending stuff, and she was like the old Joe Friday, and she just the facts, ma'am. Until she called me, and just around this time, just before graduation, she said, is it okay if I bring up my final results? Sure, welcome. So she came. This was when we were in the old tin building upstairs. And she sat down with me, put her folder down, and she says, I just have one question for you. Okay? The question is, how do you do it? When Ava and Mark come up, I want you to help me answer that question. But it was the best evaluation we had. How do you do it? Let's answer it together. So Ava, student, Mark, teacher, join me up here. So the question that B asked, how do you do it? What I'd like So the question was, how do you do it? And we'll share this. I want each of you to think about it, not philosophically, not ideologically. I want you to talk about it from your perspective as a student and as a teacher. How do we do it? How did it work for you? Okay? By the way, they didn't have any notion of what the question was going to be at all.
That's an understatement. So the question, how do we do it? For me, how do I do it? Arnie, I think you do it with love. I think the heart and soul of what makes this operation function is that we start first with that connection, that human and emotional connection to one another. And from that connection, we build a bond that allows everything else to take place. That would be my answer.
I think I would probably say we do it with community and individualness and that connection, similarly to love, is that you're not anonymous at the school, like Caroline mentioned. Everyone knows who you are, and you're important to everyone, and everyone cares about you, and you're asked how your day is, and if you're feeling down, someone will care, and someone will be there for you, and they want the education to work, so it's not that traditional test-taking ideology that works for you, then they'll make it work some other way, and they'll make you be successful, because everyone has the potential to be successful.
I almost don't have to say anything because it really is a summary. But I'll take advantage of a few minutes. Most of you know I would. I can read so many things, but I can remember my first experience after the interview was then hiring the teachers, the original staff. We had 20 people doing the hiring, 9 students, 9 parents, not necessarily parents of those students, 1 teacher, Melody's father, and me. So I got to know all the candidates, but they didn't get to know me until we eventually had hired 6 people. So I'm just going to briefly tell you about the first time we met. I met with the 6 new teachers, and there was just one question they asked. We're sitting around behind the old open living school in the sun on a nice day, and we introduced ourselves just by words, and then they finally all said, "What's your educational philosophy?" Because they knew I was supposed to be the leader. And I'm going to tell you what I said, but I think it's the first time I ever put it into words is when they asked me. And I think this is the message I would add to what both Ava and Mark have said. Much of it depends upon your view, my view, their view, but surely the school's view of what is a human being. Who are these customers? What is our job? All depends on kind of an assumption about what it is to be a human being. And by that's being challenged a lot in our day, isn't it? Around the world, not just here, but around the world. And what I basically said was, my view, and by the way, the nicest thing about it is the resonance to what I said. It was like I said what everybody was thinking. So it was clearly not just my view. That every human being, every kid, let's start with it, every human being has already at birth within him, within her, all that they will ever become. And our job as educators is to create an environment to help them nurture that and have it grow and fill them to become the people they are capable of becoming. And I got from each of them the nods I'm getting here from some of the people too. And that is enabled, I mean, that's a statement of love. That's a statement of community, but it's also a statement of trust. And for me as a leader, The nicest thing about trust is, if they trusted me, I could make mistakes. And they wouldn't hate me for it because they knew I made a mistake, and they would lovingly tell me, you made a mistake. And they're still doing it. But that's how I grew. And if I grew, we all did. So if you wanted to summarize what I'd like to leave with this group, besides first of all thanking you for being the latest expression of the glorious dreams that those kids in that room that hired me 44 years ago, you're the latest expression of the dreams they had. You are the manifestation of the dreams of those kids in 1975. And thank you for having me be part of this with you. So what I want to leave you with, but all of us, continuing to do this as the time increasingly makes it difficult to do, which makes it even more important that we continue to do it. You'll continue to do it as you raise your own families. I would bet, and I may not be around to gather the money for winning the bet, that at least a handful of these people will start their own schools as their kids start to face the realities that they have to face. And so remember the things we said here and the things you said, so they reflect in the future of how you bring up your kids, your grandkids, and your schools. And remember this day as a day for joyously celebrating the past, the present, and the future. Thank you all.
Well, Arnie, thank you for all your words of wisdom and continuing to inspire us every day. Now, we would like to recognize our honorary diploma recipients. It's often the case that our recipients are unable to attend our graduation ceremony due to the fact that they are still currently busy helping others. Please refer to your program to read about each of the recipients. We would like to ask those that are here to come forward as their names are read and stand as a group while students who have worked with them present them with their honorary diplomas. We ask that you hold your applause until the end so that all names can be heard, and that our recipients please remain at the front of the audience until all diplomas are awarded. Thank you.
Hannah Kramer.
Gaitan Farshi.
Sam Hutchins.
Kira Gallagher.
Maria Dionda.
David Curtin.
Nina Corrine Blue Waters.
Neil and Lydia Deanna.
These people enrich our program in more ways than we could ever express, and these awards represent only a small token of our appreciation for their continued support of our school. Please give them a huge, well-deserved round of applause.
Thank you. You guys will be awarded with them at the end of the ceremony. As we come closer to the big finale of our program, Scott Bain will address the class of 2019 one last time. Scott has just completed his 9th year as our principal. No one works harder than this man. Scott has extended his own boundaries by traveling with students to the Rio Grande River, where he got to relive his glory days as a river guide. At this point, Scott has gone on many trips across the K-12 community, including a trip with previous graduates to the Boundary Waters for their last trip experience. Scott goes above and beyond, everything from shaving his head for a good cause to co-teaching the leadership class. He works hard to build connections with students. We appreciate you, Scott. Please join us in welcoming the guy with the best job in the world, Scott Baird.
Thanks, everybody. All right, let's see. I'm already out of order. Give me a second here. All right, first of all, I have to say that I have to thank Arnie for sharing his wisdom with us today. I consider Arnie a mentor and a friend, and I often refer to him as the smartest man that I've ever shared a meal with. Delivering this speech has always made me really nervous. I speak in front of people all the time, but this one consistently makes me nervous. And I think it's because it's such an important day for everybody who is attending, and out of respect for what this community stands for and what it does. That makes me nervous, but following Arnie, that makes me really nervous. I also want to thank all the families this morning. As self-directed learners, one thing that these graduates understand is how to ask for help. When you are a community, the success of these students are a result of the efforts of many people, not just themselves. I applaud all of you out here in our audience, the parents, the advisors, the friends, the extended community, for everything that you put into these kids to make this experience possible. It's a really deeply meaningful and challenging process to graduate from the open school, and nobody does it alone. So thanks to all of you for your efforts. During my tenure as principal, I'm frequently asked to describe the open school. Often when asked for a description, people are seeking what is commonly referred to as an elevator speech. An elevator speech is a 30-second sales pitch designed to summarize the mission and goals of an organization in easily digestible nuggets. Appropriately so, it is impossible to summarize the open school in the amount of time it takes to ride an elevator from one floor to another. The impossibility derives from the fact that the open school, like the learning process itself, is what you make it. Should a student want to have an art school experience, they can create that. If a student wants to create a college prep program, they can design that for themselves too. If they want a vocational culinary arts program, they can grow that program for themselves as well. For nearly 50 years, the open school has provided a highly personalized, learning-centered education that truly empowers students to design their own curriculum. In 1969, just before the open school opened, noted American psychologist Carl Rogers wrote the seminal book, Freedom to Learn. In his book, he describes a learner-centered philosophy of education. According to Rogers, at the core of this approach is the idea that the presumption that human beings have the natural potential for learning. We are inherently curious about the world and we want to learn. Rogers went on to lament that all too often our innate curiosity is blunted by conventional education systems. It was this fundamental belief in the unlimited drive to learn that in 1970 guided a small group of parents and educators to lobby Jefferson County Public Schools to create a pilot program known today as the Open School. To this day, the school still is grounded in the profound belief in the learning potential of each individual. Organized around a learner-centered philosophy, the Open School is oriented in a manner that allows for maximum student agency. As a result, the Open School provides more of a framework than a rigid structure. Advisors help facilitate a process in which students assume direct responsibility for their own learning. Learning is a really broad concept with many accepted definitions. For the sake of discussion, I would propose that we utilize the following. Learning is a process that leads to change in behavior as a result of interaction or experience with the world to increase our human potential. I want to read the definition one more time. Learning is a process that leads to change in behavior as a result of experience or interaction with the world to increase our human potential. In accepting this definition, we also accept that schools do not have a monopoly over learning. It is therefore our responsibility to help students name and notice those experiences that profoundly influence their growth and which can be harnessed to move their potential forward. How does a school accomplish such an audacious vision? Bear with me for a minute. First, I want to ask everybody to close your eyes and think of a profoundly meaningful learning experience from your life that acted to increase your own potential. Again, think of a profound learning experience from your life that served to increase your own potential. I'll pause for a minute for you to capture that. Okay, hopefully you got one. All right, hold that learning experience in your mind for a minute. On the inside of your program, hopefully you have one or have one close to you, on the very back page, open it up. Yeah, you have to actually do a little bit of thinking during graduation today. On the inside of that back page of the program, you'll find an illustration commonly referred to at the Open School as the 4 quadrants. The 4 quadrants are a sort of Johari's window that is utilized by staff and students in order to establish a common language for identifying those learning experiences that help propel human potential. As you can see, within the 4 quadrants, there are in-school planned experiences, in-school unplanned experiences, out-of-school planned experiences, and out-of-school unplanned experiences. Again, I want to ask you to take a minute. Take that learning experience that you have in your mind and place it in which one of those 4 quadrants would it most fit. All right, we're not going to take everybody's answer here today. However, what's interesting about this experience and having done it with a lot of students and a lot of adults is that the fact that the vast majority of people would place the most profound learning experience of their lives as out-of-school, unplanned experiences. Yet what schools focus mostly on are in-school planned experiences. Conversely, helping a learner recognize how to harness this growth potential in the unplanned life experiences is what the Open School is all about. Carl Rogers noted that learner-centered education is a process oriented and based primarily on direct experience. It's practical, it's social, it's ethical, it's philosophical, the problems of life that promote authentic learning. Continued growth occurs as nervous enough to have trouble turning the page. As a result of being open to the learning potential of life's experience. Incorporating these lessons into a process of change is how we endeavor to achieve our greatest human potential. During the past week in conversations with each of these graduates, I had the opportunity to hear their stories of these profound experiences of their own learning and growth. In this moment of reflection, students spoke of deeply meaningful, poignant, and sometimes hilarious vignettes that allowed the student to find their own meaning in their own life and in their own learning. One student talked about the struggle to complete tasks. Upon discovering a passion for culinary arts, he learned how to apply himself and bring his work to completion at a level he was proud of and which reflected his personal best effort. In reflecting on the transformation, he identified the profound change, and the learning was how to give up giving up. Another student described a process of overcoming fears and learning to trust herself. In surmising her personal growth and learning, she simply said, "I learned how to breathe my own air." A super senior, which is a current term commonly used for a student who takes additional year to graduate, we discussed the decision to delay. Was it worth it? Was it the right decision? She said she could have graduated on time, but the work she would have completed would have been half-assed. By taking the extra time necessary, she was able to achieve excellence and redefine quality work for herself. More eloquently put in her terms, in the end, she learned how to whole ass it. All right, still another one described his experience on the Nicaragua trip. Profound change for him occurred when he realized he couldn't keep his mask up in this unfamiliar environment for such an extended period of time. Travel for him was a great equalizer. In the stresses of being outside his comfort zone, he let his guard down and realized that people would accept him for who he truly was. The profound change in behavior he experienced was the recognition that being vulnerable allowed for deeper, more meaningful relationships. After describing these varied experiences, I asked the students to place their learning within one of those 4 quadrants. Oftentimes, a discussion ensued, full of questions. Is an open school trip an in or out of school learning experience? Was the learning resulted from a planned experience, or was it peripheral as a result of happenstance and then exploited for personal growth? The answer is, of course, yes. The purpose of the 4 quadrants is not to place learning within a literal box. The purpose is to assist the learner in recognizing the growth potential of a variety of experiences in a variety of environments. It's our hope that the lines get blurry. Carl Rogers claimed that learning is more than an intellectual endeavor. It is a gut-level type of experience, which is the most profound and pervasive. When the whole person lets themselves go into the creative process of learning, they become acutely aware that this is their education. It's no longer necessary to turn to some authority for corroboration or affirmation. It is the process of truly becoming a self-directed learner. In the end, what each graduate of this class described with great elegance and wisdom is the recognition that truly powerful learning can and does occur within all 4 of the quadrants. Having been trained to recognize out-of-school unplanned learning experiences as influential in their lives, to help them make meaning, to change their behavior, and to place one's life on a self-determined path, these graduates are prepared to harness the learning in all facets of their lives. The only person who is truly educated, Carl Rogers said, is the one who has learned how to learn and how to change. With these words, I present to you the graduating class of 2019 from the Jefferson County Open School. Congratulations, my guys.
Nils Olaf Abers.
Josette Adderhold.
Sergey Makonnen Antokin.
Nevin Lynx Clark.
Liliana Crandall.
Lily Mae Downing.
Ethan Kendrick Eldridge.
Elliot Enix.
Michaela Faith Hankins.
Matthew Tyler Hennon.
Antares Jeffress Whitehead.
Catherine Kellogg.
Paulina Coster.
Connor Mann.
Valandel Mann.
Cole Harley Martinez. Jesse McClellan.
Aiden McGregor.
Gavin McGregor.
Phoenix Ashlyn Noder.
Timothy Paget.
Caroline Peterson.
Leela Lakota Pooyer.
Oriel Sosville.
Ava Sophia Szymanski.
Aaron Sloan.
Adarin Phoebe Speary.
Aiden Stratton.
Alex Theobald.
Aiden Tretta.
Levi Hemingway Weatherall.
Connor Webster.
Oliver Lee Wilson. This brings our ceremony to a close, but not the celebration of our graduates. Drinks and refreshments are available at the back wall by the office. We thank you all for coming, and for one final time, we celebrate the class of 2019.